enough for that, short of the time and effort and money manufacturers spend on producing that perfect sample to enable that?
Well, if you get down to final decision making, you want something really, really close. You don't want to kind of looks like this discussion going on. You know, whether it's a lithograph or something, you know, wrapped a box or something, but it's got to look really good. And again, you know, at that point, so yes, much of the work today is, you know, done in, you know, electronically with Apollo or whatever the next gen of that is. You know, where the height, weight, you know, the cube of the product goes into a system to show you how much space you have. Okay, fine, it fits. But eventually, you need to take a finished product and send it off to get imaged, you know, so that you know exactly, right down to the nut, to have a third party do the imaging and do the dimensions to ensure that it's going to fit a shot. I mean, the worst thing that can happen, guys, is to send out a plano and it hits the stores and it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Eighths
of inches matter.
What if, you know, I know that one of the things that we're doing now, as a matter of course, because we use it for our own advertising, is we actually get 3D dimensions done fairly early in the process internally. I don't think we're sending any of those off necessarily to the manufacturers or to the retailers, because a lot of retailers, at least we're thinking, still want, you know, give me at least a labeled empty, ideally it's something that's come off the line, so that I can validate all of these things. Do you see the industry moving towards taking more of the 3D images directly from the retailers or from the manufacturers?
I think so. You know, the complexity and the expense for a retailer to maintain a planogram room is pretty expensive. You know, I mean, we're basically carrying a whole other store. And in the case of Walgreens, there's 3 of them because there's so many different configurations of drugstores out there. You know, there's 4-foot shelves and there's 3-foot shelves and there's 72-inch gondolas and 36 and 48. I mean, there's so many different variations. Walgreens literally has 4 different stores set to do planograms. It's pretty expensive, and I imagine, you know, the retailers are similar. So yeah, I assume, bad word of course, but I assume in time the physical reset planogram room, if you will, is probably going to go away.
Oh, there's cool things, I think, on the horizon with VR. I'm just not sure how eager people are to get involved in that.
Yeah. Did you see anybody experimenting with virtual reality before you retired? And by the way, congratulations on that milestone.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. It's almost a year now, and it's been really, really good. But yes, most definitely, yeah. Virtual reality, I mean, you know, P&G's been doing it for years at the Innovation Center in where are they at? Kansas City, I think.
So they would take you to their center versus bring in something to your office. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and you know what they do in Cincinnati is, you know, they bring consumers through to show them new planos and new concepts and new store layouts and things like that for fixturing and lighting and things like that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's growing for sure.
What more do you have, Karen?
I'm getting through my list of questions. I'm interested to hear some more of your projections about where you think the industry is going, especially as we see e-commerce rise. Do you see the decision-making changing a little bit? Because I think one of the constraints we have is, on one hand, you have innovation. The pace of innovation is getting faster. Trends, half-lives are much shorter. But the work to physically move shelves around is very expensive on brick and mortar retailers. But when you move into the e-commerce space, now you're sort of free from some of those constraints that drives those drop-dead dates that you've got to work against. I'm interested to hear where you think things are going, or where you might, you know, if you were to be asked to project forward 5 years, what do you think people would be doing?
Well, you know, we refer to that as endless aisles. You know, I mean, Walgreens has a pretty extensive e-commerce world, pretty robust program there. But, you know, we've always taken the position, so brick and mortar has taken on a lot of different things. I mean, when the whole e-commerce thing first came out 15 years ago, it was like, oh my God, brick and mortar is going to come to an end. when deep discount drug first came on board. Brick and mortar retail is going to come to an end. When mass merchant,